Hello everybody and welcome back to Screen Stars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2020 horror film Don't Let Them In, a film that is co-written and directed by Mike Duncan, and it stars Aidan O'Neill and Michelle Luther. Now, this is a low-budget UK-based horror film, home invasion style horror film, that focuses on two social services workers who head out into the countryside at this abandoned pub to go and see a client who has recently been released from prison, who many years previously was convicted for a child murder, and he's recently been released back into society. So they have been given the task of going to check up on him after his release, making sure everything's okay. However, when they get there, the abandoned pub is laid siege by some masked assailants who are desperate to try and get in, leaving the three inside with the arduous task of trying to stay alive through the night. Right, so that's kind of the gist of the story. Now, that sounds quite run-of-the-mill for a home invasions type film, you're probably thinking, but you would be wrong, because this film turns home invasion films on its head. This is a home invasion film with a really wicked twist, and I found that so refreshing. Now, I will be honest here, home invasion films are not usually my cup of tea. There are very few out there that do something new with that genre, do something new with it at all. It's usually the same old thing, it's ticking the boxes, and you've seen it all before. This one is probably the most original home invasion film I've seen for quite some time. It is really entertaining. It's not without its faults. It's a low budget film for a start, but it really puts everything on the screen here. There are probably more than a few plot holes after the film is finished and everything has been revealed, and believe me, there are plenty of twists in this film. When you think about it afterwards, there are a couple of plot holes that do appear, but because you've just been wonderfully entertained by it, you don't really mind so much, and I can't talk about these plot holes because it would spoil the film. This film has a really wicked sense of humour running through it that it's not an easy thing to do in a horror film, blend in humour, but this balances the line between horror and humour expertly. I think it does it effortlessly, and it's genuinely funny at times, and still quite horrific too, the situation that they're in and what have you. I just think it balances that line really well, and one of the most effective films I've seen, horror films I've seen, to do that for a while. It was really clever writing, I think. Now, low budget horrors, I think, live and die on the performances of the actors. You can have low budget horror films and then you put people in the parts that just aren't very accomplished in the art of acting, and it drags the film down even further and it feels even more low budget. Then we don't get anything like that in this film. I was really impressed with the performances here by the two leads. Well, everybody. I mean, there's only really three characters in this film that actually have speaking parts, and they all do really well. So you've got these two social workers and the guy they're going to visit, and the interactions, certainly between the two social workers, but all of them really nicely done. They're funny, they're intense at times, frustrating because they can't get the answers that they want. So the dialogue and the writing really worked for these characters, but the performances really deliver too, especially from the two social services, two actors playing social services officers, Aidan O'Neill and Michelle Luther. Really good interactions, really good performances, and it elevates the film to yes, it's low budget, but it really lifts it up in this film into something else, and very watchable because of these performances. It's wonderfully gory when it needs to be, but it's not overtly gory. It's not gory for gory's sake. There's one particular character in the film that keeps getting covered in blood that kind of becomes a joke by the end of it, almost. You know what I mean? And it's just one of those horror films that really works, I think. And it's one of those that you might actually, when you watch it or when you see it, I don't think the marketing actually does it justice, because it just looks like a normal home invasion film. I thought that's what it was going to be, and I was so wrong. And I'm thankful that I was so wrong, because this film, I don't want to talk about it too much because I don't want to spoil it. I want you to be as surprised as I was when I watched this film, and believe me, you will. If you like horror and you like home invasion type horror, you will, I think, tip your hat and appreciate this film, because it really tries to do something different with a tired genre, a tired subgenre in horror films. The marketing that I've seen for this, says Your Next meets The Purge. Again, I'm not even think that does it justice. I don't really know what to compare it to, because it's kind of created its own home invasion subgenre here. It's just a really good film. It's really fun, really entertaining, really well made with the budget that they had, some clever writing, some really fun performances, and I don't think it's one that you'll want to miss here. Yes, like I said, it's not perfect. There are a couple of plot holes here and there. The budget does shine through now and again, the low budget, but it's a wildly entertaining film, and I definitely would suggest it. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. It's a real surprise, and occasionally some of these low budget films you watch can deliver a really nice surprise, and it's like I've said before many times, just because a film is low budget doesn't mean it can't be good. Some of the best horror films that have ever been made have been low budget, and I think this is a fine example of a low budget horror film that has made every penny count and delivered a fun, entertaining film. So I suggest you pick this one up when it is released later this year in 2020. I believe it's coming out in July, so make sure you pick it up when we're all able to get out and buy things again. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this review. I'll see you back for more reviews on Screen Stars very soon.